What's up, Kingdom Builder? Welcome back to this Bible study. Today, we're going to be diving into a new series called Business Secrets from the Greatest of All Time of Entrepreneurs. And his name is Jesus. So, today, I want to pose to you why Jesus was the best entrepreneur and that we can learn different things from him that can help you to be able to establish a business that could be quite spectacular. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, be sure to like this, share this, subscribe to my YouTube for this. We're going to break this into a 5-part series, and I hope that sounds interesting to you. But I want to pose to you, right? Think about the GOAT, right? Greatest of all time. If you think about the GOAT of entrepreneurs, who are people that come to your mind? If you're in today's age, you might think of an Elon Musk. You might think of a Steve Jobs who changed the world with this whole iPhone thing, right? And shout out question. I got to see if we're friends or not. Are you team iPhone? If so, put a 1 in the comments. If you're team Android, put a 2. All right. And I'll let you know iPhone 1, Android 2, just curious whether live on replay. I'm an iPhone person now, but I will tell you, I grew up an Android person. All right. Never thought I'd touch an iPhone. I thought I would make fun of iPhone people, but once you go blue, you cannot go back. Anywho, you think about great entrepreneurs and you think about these people, right? Maybe it's someone in your life that you aspire to be like. But I want to submit to you that the greatest entrepreneur, awesome team iPhone, the greatest entrepreneur of all time, in terms of numbers, in terms of success, in terms of solving a problem, right? What is an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is someone that solves a problem. And it's a long-lasting problem with a long-lasting solution. Jesus, over 2,000 years ago, came out of nowhere. No one knew this person. He had no distinct advantage. It says in Philippians chapter 2, in fact, because sometimes we think, well, Jesus, this guy was God, and he was. But at the same time, it says in Philippians chapter 2, verse 6, who, as he already existed in the form of God, so this is Jesus in his divinity, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped. Interesting. So yes, Jesus was God, but at the same time, Philippians 2, chapter 2, verse 7 says this, but emptied himself by taking the form of a bondservant and being born in the likeness of men. And being found in appearance as a man, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death on the cross. So Jesus, in his 3.5 years of public ministry, in his 33 some years of being alive in the form of a human, he was God, but a person just like us. It's kind of hard to imagine, right? How could be God and man? That's the mystery and the beauty of the gospel itself. However, here's a person that laid down his divinity for a period of time. He built a business that you can call the church for 3.5 years. Here's a person that came out of a place with not much of a background. He was born in a place called Bethlehem. Bethlehem, if you know, was kind of like it was made fun of. In fact, in the Bible, people said nothing good comes out of Bethlehem. Maybe you come from a place or a city or a town where you feel like not much great comes from this town. So did Jesus. He was born in a manger. He was born poor, right? Mary and Joseph, his parents, his earthly parents, they weren't like endowed with the most amazing of things. Maybe you feel like you didn't come with much from beforehand, right? Like here was a person that was born out of nothingness. And yet, when he decided to develop his business called the church, he did his father's work. He did his father's business. Get this. In 3.5 years, here's a couple things that he did. He took a group of 12 people that most of these 12 were people that you would never have thought would amount to much. Fishermen, tax collectors. Tax collectors back in the day were known as like the worst of the worst because they would steal from their fellow Jewish people. right? Even one of the 12 actually betrayed him. Maybe you're an entrepreneur building a team right now. Maybe you're somebody that has a vision and you want to be able to build something significant, but you're looking at the resources around you and you're like, it doesn't seem like it's going to amount to much. Jesus came from nothing. He was born without much resources, humanly speaking. He had a team of 12 people of a ragtag bunch. He did ministry for 3.5 years. And also get this, Jesus did things a certain way. He didn't hustle like we would grind today. He didn't work 8 till faint, but he feasted. He partied. He took naps and he worked. He knew the pace of grace. There's a certain way of doing certain things to be super productive. And yet it says in John 21:25, it says that there are so many other things which Jesus did, which if they were written in detail, I expect that not even the world itself would not contain the books that would be written. Question: are you somebody, Kingdom Builder, that wants to do some great work here? Are you somebody that has a vision, that has a dream, that wants to impact more people, that wants to transform lives? If so, comment me below if that's someone like you. Well, Jesus, after 3.5 years of public ministry, not only completed his work on the cross, he said, "It is finished." That's a good way to end your life. But also, fast forward 2,000 years later, he's created an organization that is to this day the longest standing organization, the biggest organization in the world. Whether you believe in who Jesus was or not, you can't deny that over 2 billion people, around a third of the world today, follow this leader, follow what he said, follow his call. But think about it, right? 3.5 years of public ministry. So imagine you built a business for 3.5 years. And it not only lasted, but it grew for 2,000 plus years. Think about the greatest business in the world right now. What would you consider? Throw it in the comments. Like, what would you consider a very successful business today? Right now, success, you can label as many different ways. You might consider McDonald's successful. Now, McDonald's, they've sold billions and billions of burgers. Maybe it's Apple, maybe it's Tesla, maybe, I don't know, right? What do you consider to be one of the greatest, most successful companies of all time, right? Coca-Cola, maybe? What business outside of the church itself, and when I say the church is a business, I'm not throwing that into a bad connotation. I'm just saying an organization. What other organization in the world has lasted 2,000 years without the original leader there? Jesus did public ministry for 3.5 years, left, gave the torch to the disciples, and it has continued to expand and explode throughout the world without the original leader himself being here in human form. So isn't that interesting? So we're going to break down this study of what we can learn from Jesus as an entrepreneur. Because if we can take his principles and we can apply it into our businesses, I think we can achieve more success, more impact. I mean, I don't know if we could do it the way that Jesus did exactly. He was perfect. We're not. But there's certain principles and secrets that he has. But here's one thing to think about as we move into this series. And I wonder what you think about this. What was one of the biggest secrets that Jesus did? And we'll break this down tomorrow in how Jesus set goals. But Jesus was somebody that did not only pursue good ideas, right? There's a lot of ideas that we have. If you're anything like me as an entrepreneur, you're thinking all the time, aren't you? You're thinking about all the ideas in the world, new projects, new ideas, new strategies, new businesses. But Jesus was a person that was one track focused. He had one major vision and he went for that vision. And this is what he said. John chapter 5, verse 19. Therefore, Jesus answered and was saying to them, truly, truly, I say to you, the Son can do nothing of himself unless it is something he sees the Father doing. For whatever the Father does, these things the Son also does in the same way. So, Kingdom Builder, the first secret, and we'll dive further into these as we go into this study. The first secret is this. Are you seeking to do what only you want to do? Or are you truly seeking what the Father wants you to do? You see, the Father has given you a distinct call. He's shaped you a certain way. You have a certain personality, don't you? You have a certain gifting and talents. You have a certain life experience. There's certain things that you were given and endowed with that only you were meant to be able to carry out on this world. So many times, I think one of the biggest issues that I face, at least as an entrepreneur, is I look around and I compare. Does anyone else suffer from comparison? You look at them, you're like, man, they're doing it like this. You look at them, you're like, oh my gosh, they're so good, you know? And we're trying to be everyone else except for who God created us to be ourselves. But one of the biggest secrets that Jesus had in developing the church, in developing the business, was the question that he asked himself every day was this: Father, what do you want me to do today? Father, what is your purpose for me today? And I appreciate that honesty, Trisha. So if you start to ask God today, it says in James chapter 1, verse 5, that if any of us lacks wisdom, ask God. He gives it to you freely without any reproach. So start today as we break down this series. If you want the biggest secret, ask God, what do you want me to do today? How do you want me to run the business today? What's your will for what you want me to do today? Jesus had that at all times. He was in perfect communication with the Father himself, and he just continued to do only what the Father did. That's what we call a perfect plan. So if this sounds like an interesting series to you, be sure to tune in. I'm going to break this down to a 5-part series of business secrets from the GOAT of all entrepreneurs, Jesus himself. And I believe that if we take these principles and we can apply his word into our lives, then you're going to see some astounding things happen to your life. And we can be like Jesus in the businesses that we've been given. All right, everyone. So if that was great for you, then like this, share this. And also, I'd love to hear in the comments below, like what triggered you? You know, what are the things that the Holy Spirit's saying to you in this? And subscribe to my YouTube or podcast so you can catch these on replay or miss out or catch up on any of the ones that you also missed out on as well too. But other than that, Kingdom Builder, excited to dive into this, and I'll see you back on tomorrow. Other than that, God bless. See you soon.